All right, well, I guess I'm live. Wow, they took that button away, huh? Okay. It used to be where like you'd set all this stuff up and then you had one more button to click before you went live, but am I live? Weird, the confirm button's like gone. It just starts right away. Anyway, YouTube always changing stuff. And it says I'm live, so I'm assuming that I am live. Okay. Anyway, hey everybody, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, and back here again with another YouTube live stream. This was going to kind of be like how my last one, where I did kind of a behind the album commentary about my album Turn of the Scrocked. This week I'm going to do Polybius, which was a request from who was it that asked for that? Nick Z, that's right. So Nick Z asked if I could do a behind the music on this one. Behind the whatever album. And that's what I'm doing. So also here just to talk to you guys and see what's going on. Make sure you're all doing okay. And, you know, I actually was going to get a glass of water before I even started this because, again, it just sort of started without me confirming anything. I just turned it on and there it went. But anyway, I have a little bit of water left, so at some point during one of the songs, I'll get up and refill my water. So anyway, yeah. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I've had off and on trouble with my teeth. If you've been following me for the past few videos, it was kind of been going on for a while now. Getting some work done on my teeth. I had a partial root canal done and it's still not completed yet, and it left me basically with a giant gaping hole in the almost furthest back tooth in my upper left side. I have all four of my wisdom teeth, believe it or not, so it's the one right before the wisdom tooth. But I think I don't know if she did a great job or not. I generally just don't trust dentists at all. But I feel like when she was grinding it out, well, first off, I don't even, like, after they did it, because I'd never had one done before, it didn't seem like it was bad enough to like, warrant that kind of, I don't know, like, they basically destroyed my entire tooth. Like, it really didn't seem that bad. Like, I mean, yeah, it was kind of bad, but now it's really bad. So, there's no going back now. Like, they have to fix it at this point. But, like, I feel like that when she was grinding away at it, she grinded part of my wisdom tooth away, too, which is not good. So it's like, basically, I have two messed up teeth now, whereas the wisdom tooth was perfectly fine before that. So anyway, like, like, right now it feels fine, but the weird thing is like, I'll just suddenly be in excruciating pain. It just comes and goes. Like, yesterday, we went to the beach, actually. I took the day off, and went to the beach. It was really nice, but on the drive there, it, like, probably about 15 minutes into the drive, it just started, like, the whole side of my face started aching, and it was excruciating pain. And let me check my settings are all weird. I don't know. Why is this being so weird today? Sorry if you guys are seeing it, like, in, like, a really weird resolution. It says 1152 by 648. How is that possible? Anyway, feel free to comment if it looks weird or if you don't hear me or if there's anything strange. Like I said, it just suddenly started when I turned on OBS. Like, I didn't have any chance to, like, check anything or anything like that or click go live. It just was live. I don't know why. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, but the teeth. I tried to call him today and, like, here, and I mean, since a couple of things going on, because one, we're in a pandemic still, and I live in New York City, and everything is extremely difficult to do in New York City anyways, and now with the pandemic, especially things like doctors and dentists and appointments and stuff like that, everything is, like, insanely behind, and there's, like, all these waits, and you have to, like, call really far ahead of time. Like, my next appointment isn't until the 20th of this month, so I still have another, like, 9 days before I can go see another dentist, and that one's just supposed to be for a consultation, and I'm like, I don't need another consultation. I need you guys to fix what is wrong with my teeth. so I can function in life. But so I tried to call him today, and I just couldn't get through. It was like they put me on hold forever, and then I finally got somebody, and then he put me on hold, and I was on hold for like a half an hour, and I was like, I can't just sit here on hold all day. Like, I have another appointment booked already, so I'll just wait and go to that one. But yeah, so let me go ahead and I'm going to play the first song off of this, and then we'll talk about what's going on here and what this song is all about. So the first song is called The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes, and this is off of my album Polybius, which was released in 2017. So here we go. Okay, so yeah, that song's kind of like an intro. It really wasn't supposed to be anything crazy. It was just sort of this almost video game sounding intro, given that Polybius is a name of a fictional video game. Well, possibly fictional. It might be real. If you've never heard of Polybius, I'll go over it briefly. I'm sure a lot of you already know the story of Polybius, the video game, but I will talk about that here in a little bit. But that first song, the title, first off, The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes, comes from a good friend of mine, Chad, who actually is probably my best friend, and he was the one who, we've known each other since we were like little kids. And he was the one who did the painting, the cover painting on Turn of the Scroct, which I showed you guys in the last episode. But the title, The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes, me and Chad made this film a long time ago, like video. It was like a video film like that we did when we were like, I don't know, probably like 19 or something, 20, somewhere around there. And we were just baked out of our minds and making videos, and we did this like short film movie type thing called The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes. And it was very abstract. It never really had much of a understandable plot, but it involved these two guys who played by us, Dallas and McSwain. I was Dallas, he was McSwain. And basically we were on some kind of adventure, searching around for something. And The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes was kind of this, the concept of the movie. But unfortunately, both of us have lost all of our copies of this. I would love to have it and upload it onto YouTube, but I don't have it anymore. My last copy that I had was in a camcorder that I had taken to Baltimore with me and then accidentally left in Baltimore. This was probably back in the year 2000 or so. And so I haven't seen that thing in 20 years, which is crazy. So it's probably long gone unless Chad miraculously, I can't say that word, finds a copy somewhere. The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes, the movie, is probably long gone. But that's where the song title comes from. The song itself, I did that whole song on a Casio CT370 1987 keyboard, which is what I mean, everything on it. The drum beat, all the synth sounds, they were all made on that keyboard. So I just did it one part at a time. I did the drum part first, and then just played everything else live. And I think I recorded it. I'm not sure what I recorded it in actually, but it was very. Excuse me. It was very simple. Like I didn't spend a whole lot of time on that one because it was supposed to just be like an intro type thing. Nothing super crazy there, but it's cool. I used to use that a lot for the opening theme on the podcast that I would do more often than I do now. But for a while there, Chad was co-hosting with me on the podcast, and we actually called the podcast at that time The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes as well. So I'm all about reusing names of thme, which is pretty much how Demonic Sweaters, it's like my YouTube channel and my band name and my, me as my band. I'm the band. But anyway, I'm still not fully convinced this thing is even live. No, it says it is. Excuse me. But usually, some of you are chatting by now. So if anybody is out there and seeing this, please post a comment just so I know that this thing is indeed live, because it's kind of like being really weird today. But that is YouTube live streaming. It's always weird. But today it looks like they changed some stuff, so it's even weirder. Or at least they changed stuff recently since the last time I used it. Yeah. So, Wrong Way the Stripe Goes. That's the first song. And second song is called Helicopter Cop. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to get through these songs a little bit faster this time than I did the last time, because the last one was pretty darn long. So I'm going to go ahead and play Helicopter Cop now, and then I'll tell you guys about this one after it stops. Okay. So, yeah, that one is called Helicopter Cop. And hey, big fan of everybody. Joan Milev, and Mike Kamane. I constantly butcher names, so don't hold it against me. I'm terrible at them. I can barely read my own name. Anyway, that song, just the general idea behind pretty much this entire album is I wanted to make a really, really strong drumming record. And so I was really, really, concentrating on doing a lot of odd time signatures and throwing in some stuff that I'd never had done before. That song was actually in 7/4 time signature, if you couldn't tell. And the way that you could count that to figure it out is just, let me just play a little second, and then I will count a little bit of it for you so you can tell. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. So it stays that time signature the whole time. And so one of the things about playing in odd times is doing fills can be challenging. Getting the odd time signature beat isn't as hard as some people think, I think. But when you're like kind of in the middle of it and going crazy and you want to do some like crazy fill, that's when it gets kind of complicated because you have to make sure to come in the right spot. You can't really do 4/4 fills, aren't going to fit in a 7/4 time signature song. So you have to work out your own fills. Now this song, I programmed like all the electronic parts first, and I started that in LMMS, is where I did all the MIDI sequencing was in the program LMMS, and then I moved it over to, I think it was Mixbus, and then I recorded the drums and everything else there. Well, actually, it's just drums and MIDI. That's the only two things in that entire song. But I programmed out the full thing first, and I'm not sure on this particular song, but on a couple of the songs on this album, I actually programmed out kind of my rough sketched my drum ideas before actually recording them. But I think on this one, I just made it up there on the spot. Now, on that one also there's a drum playthrough of that song on my channel as well, if you want to see me actually playing it. It's a couple years old, but the actual recording that you hear right there is the video. I recorded the audio and the video at the same time. So it's pretty cool. I recorded that in my old studio space, like 2 studio spaces ago, when I was sharing with Ronan Conroy, and it was a much larger room than I have now, which was pretty nice because I had a lot of room to set up more stuff, and have like cameras and like better angles and stuff a little further away. But still, yeah, I mean, pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with the drum sound I got on that one too. I was using the Tama Imperial Star kit and mostly pretty inexpensive microphones. I was using I think fake generic SM57 copies on the snare and toms, and then a couple of Chinese condenser mics as the overheads. And on the kick drum was a CAD KBM 412. So all the mics were super cheap on that recording, but still sounded pretty good. Let's see. E. Simmons 91 says, "Hey, what's a good recommendation for a good drum throne to use?" Well, if you're looking for, what's your budget? Do you want to spend a lot or not a lot? Are you looking for something cheap? I don't think Evans makes drum thrones, do they? Maybe they do. That's what David K said, an Evans drum throne. They might. I've never seen one. But I have 2 different thrones now. I have a Gibraltar that's here on my electronic set, and then if 200 to 300 is your budget, then you could get a really, really great throne. One of the best, most comfortable thrones you can buy is the Pork Pie Percussion throne, and I think they're about $150, $200. They're not cheap, and they're not very portable, which is why I used to have one, but I got rid of it because it was just so heavy. Like the bass on those things is ridiculously heavy duty, and they're really comfortable though. They have like the seat on them is that thick, they're crazy, and they come in all these cool colors, glitters and kind of swirly looking patterns and stuff. So those are really, really good. I love the Pork Pie Percussion as far as how comfortable they are. The one I have in my drum room right now is a Pacific, a PDP, and it's very inexpensive, and that thing is actually quite comfortable too. I think it was like $70 or something. I got it at Sweetwater. My opinion, I would say to stay away from the ones that have the airlift, like where you pull like it's like an office chair where you can like push the little thing underneath and you can move it up and down easily. The reason why I hate those things is because they bounce. And like if you're playing drums and you're bouncing up and down, like it is the most irritating thing. And like one time I played a gig with Ronan at this club in Manhattan, and they had the drum throne like that was all bouncy like that. And afterwards my back was like killing me because like, you know, you're not supposed to be bouncing around on a throne like that. Like I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Also, what you should look out for are ones that either have a screw base, like where it's got a threaded post that screws into the base, so that way it doesn't slide up and down ever. Like pork pies have those. And another one, and some really cheap thrones have this, but the PDP I have has it too, where the bolt goes all the way through the post. And it kind of locks on this other thing, and those will not slide either. So this Gibraltar one I have doesn't have either of that. It has just a regular post with like a memory lock on it, but it has this like textured. Let me just show you. It has this textured post here. And you can see how it's not like shiny silver. It's like a textured thing. So that makes it grip pretty good. And I did a review. There's a review on my channel of this thing, Gibraltar. And I think these are about $50 or $60, something like that. They're not very expensive either. They're good. Because for me, I not only want one that's comfortable, I don't like anything that's gigantic or really hard to move around. And that was the problem for me with the pork pie. And some of those other, like the really big, comfortable thrones. It's like, that pork pie percussion, it probably weighs more than that entire, Tama flyer kit that I have over there. Because they were just so massive and heavy duty. So that's why I got rid of that. But they are really comfortable. If you don't plan on moving it around ever, you're just going to keep it at home. They're really, really good. Very, very comfortable thrones. And they're easy on the back. Some people like the ones with the, it's got a backrest. I don't like that either. I'm not sitting on a lazy bar. I'm playing the drums. I don't want anything touching me, like on the sides or my back or anything when I'm playing. I want to be able to move around and stuff. So no bouncy chairs, no backs, and try to get something threaded. Those are the main things for me. Yeah. I could go on about thrones for a long time, as you can tell. I also have a canister throne. Now, canister thrones are very rare and very hard and very expensive if you can find one. They're basically a wooden tube, like a tall drum that your hardware goes down inside of it. I'm not going to go get mine because it's in my bedroom and got a bunch of crap in it right now. And I was using that for a long time too, but the problem with the canister thrones is you can't adjust the height because they're just basically like a tube that you sit on with a seat on top of it. But they're cool. They definitely have cool. I think DW makes one that can adjust, but that thing is like $1,000, which is insane. Pay $1,000 for a throne. I got lucky with mine. Mine's a vintage one, but I got it for probably $100, which is you never find a canister throne for $100. I got super lucky finding that thing, and I almost sold it not that long ago, and I was like, I better hold on to it. I'll probably want to use it again at some point. But I kind of one of the things with sitting up that high though is it's not that great for my knees. I prefer to be lower when I'm on the drums and because if my knees are not like this, and if they're like this and you're extending your leg a lot, then you tend to give yourself knee injuries. So it's better to have your knees pretty bent, so to sit kind of low. For my body, not everybody's the same, But I find if I sit too high, then my left knee starts to pop a little bit after using the hi-hat. If I sit lower, that doesn't really happen. So I try to sit low and have the drums kind of up where I can, where they're in front of me a little bit more. Plus, I play really small drums a lot of the time, so being low also helps with that. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to the next song. This one, it's not as long as I thought. I thought it was like a really long song. But this one is another, I think this one's in 6/8. I'm pretty sure. But let's go ahead and play it. So here we go. This one's called Ghost Image. I guess I can always talk while these are going on, too, if I turn them down a little bit. Yeah, this one's 6/8. Or 6/4. So I always kind of like the beat I did in the chorus coming up here. Kind of like it's almost like I took a fill that I do, like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and put it on the hi-hat, and just kind of put this swing feel on it, but kept the beat straight. So I just thought it was kind of interesting. Oh, that's a good question, E. Simmons. I'll talk about that after the song ends, the stick question. 1 second. You might have noticed the bell symbol in there. That's a Meinl HCS bell. Also a Meinl HCS trash crash on top of a 16-inch brass cymbal that I made a stack out of. As you can tell, this album is like way more digital sounding than the stuff that I'm doing right now. But a lot of the earlier stuff I was doing was kind of like more chip tunes-y with live drums to them. But this one in particular, I forgot to talk about Polybius, like why it's even named that, because of this video game. And this song's almost done. Let me just wait for it to finish and I'll tell you the story. Okay, so the story of Polybius, and I'm just going to do it very briefly. If you want to really hear the full story, I highly recommend checking out, what's the name of the podcast? Astonishing Legends. Astonishing Legends did a very thorough episode of the Polybius story on their podcast a few years ago. So check that out if you really want to get the full story of it. But in a nutshell, Polybius was this supposed video game that showed up in the 1980s in like a small town in, I think, Washington State or somewhere in the Northwest. And it was this video game that had all these patterns and overlapping, spirals, and kind of like what I did on the cover here. And that thing keeps falling down. Sorry, I have to fix that again. Be right back. Okay, yeah, so the AC is back there, and if that curtain falls down over it, it doesn't work. So anyway, Polybius, this video game showed up in this small town arcade. Let me fix my camera. And the kids, supposedly, that started playing it, started getting really sick and having, like, mental problems and all kinds of weird stuff happening to them, becoming suicidal. And supposedly these, guys from, like, kind of Men in Black looking guys would come and read data out of the machine. And I don't know, a lot of people say that it's fake and the whole thing's made up, but I like to believe that it's real just because it's such a cool and weird story. So that's the whole story. I mean, that's basically the story of Polybius, but you should definitely listen to that Astonishing Legends podcast about Polybius if you really want to get those guys. And if you've never listened to Astonishing Legends in general, they're one of my favorite podcasts. They go into all kinds of stories like that, and they go into such depth. They did probably a 2-hour long 5-episode thing on the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot film. It was the most detailed. It's crazy. The stuff that they do on that podcast. They're so well researched, and they really dig deep into those topics. So the Polybius one is really great. I can't remember if it's more than one episode or not, but I might have to listen to that again now that I'm talking about it. So that was why I wanted to kind of do this really video game sounding type music, and also that's why the cover looks the way that it does, where it's kind of this circle on top of a triangle on top of this other these other patterns, and kind of because that's kind of the stories of the game, where it was these patterns that would be overlapping and doing all this weird stuff, and kind of put kids into a hypnotic trance when they would play it. So that was the inspiration of the title, and I just thought that it was such a cool story. I was I need to name my next album that. And then I found out I think Trent Reznor or somebody named a song or an album called that after I did it. I doubt that he heard mine, but it was just coincidental. He probably heard that podcast though. And maybe that was the inspiration for that too. So, okay, so the next one. Oh, I forgot to talk about the sticks. Okay, E. Simmons asked, that was his. Where's that question? Do you use different sticks depending on what kind of song you're doing, or do you tend to use the same ones? Well, I use a couple of different ones. I don't use a lot of different sticks. Basically, it comes down to either a 5... These days, I've used a lot over time, but these days it comes down to a 5A and a 7A. Most of the time, it's the 5A on the acoustic drums, and most of the time, it's the 7A on the electric drums. The reason why, because you really don't need, especially when you're playing really, really small pads, having a giant stick kind of... Not that 5As are giant, but they're big compared to a 7A. But there's no real need to bash into a mesh head, because you can adjust the sensitivity and make it as loud as you want. With all that stuff and trigger settings and the module and all that stuff. So there's no real need to play really heavy sticks on electronic drums, unless you like the feel of them. For me, having 7As. It's kind of nice because, you can play longer and they're not as loud in the room because they're so light, and they don't, wear on your hands as much. As I get older, I'm a little more, these are easier. I'll just use these. But I always recommend to my students especially when you're first learning how to play the drums, is to play heavier sticks. Because, believe it or not, heavier sticks are easier to control. They have a easier bounce. Like a 5B is going to bounce much easier than a 7A. So that's why I think new drummers should really use heavier sticks. I think when I started, I played 2Bs, which are really pretty big by today's standards. But I mean, depending on the brand you get too, like ProMark tend to be pretty heavy sticks all around. Like ProMark 7As are as heavy as some companies' 5As. So, but yeah, I mean, it's mostly just those two. But if you want to get like, I don't play like a huge, variety of genres either. Like I'm not playing like bebop jazz or anything like that anymore. But if I were, then maybe I would play like a lighter stick with like a maple stick or something, because maple sounds really, really sweet on cymbals, like a jazzy sound. But yeah, you don't have to. For a while there on Polybius and a lot of the stuff around that time, I was using those the Aquarian X10 synthetic sticks, and I used those for several years because they didn't dry out my hands the way wood did. But when I got the when I got the Nitro, I started playing the 7As on that, and then it got me used to how wood feels again, because I kind of adjusted for a while there to how the X10 felt, because they don't feel like wood, they feel totally different. And at first they're really weird to play with, but then you get used to them, and then wood feels really weird. But then I got used to wood again, so now I'm switched back to wood like all the time. I never use the X10s anymore, even though I still have a bunch of them. And they are really great sticks, and they last forever. But they're an acquired taste for sure. Like, if you pick one up and you've played years for a long time, and you played wood, I was looking at a comment where it says years, or something. But, yeah, so that's it with the sticks. Play what you like. But, different sticks do have a different sound. Heavier sticks, mostly, well, on cymbals and on, like, if you do, like, rim shots on the snare, that's where you're going to notice a big difference. Like, a 7A can sound quite different than a 5B on a snare drum when you crack it with the rim. Usually, I prefer the 5A more because it has a meatier kind of thicker sound, whereas like a 7A will give you a higher crack, but it doesn't have as much body to it. And then on cymbals, the tip shape really makes a big difference too. I really don't like how nylon tip drumsticks sound on cymbals, and those X10s sort of sounded like nylons, but not as bad. Nylon tips sound like they sound very. They just sound like plastic hitting a cymbal, which doesn't sound that great, in my opinion. I mean, it's good for live. Like, I used to use them in this band, Quiet Sons, who is, really loud, and we were, like, hardcore. So they're good for stuff like that if you want to cut through. But as far as, like, the actual sound, they don't really sound that great. So wood tip is usually better. But the thing is, with wood tip, is sometimes they can split, and then you'll end up with half a tip, and then it sounds like crap. So there's ups and downs to everything. Let's see. Starthak says, yeah, I love it too. Definitely gives a retro vibe. Thanks. E. Simmons again. My wife got me the Alesis Nitro Mesh Kit, and I've been using Vic Firth 7As, and they seem really comfortable. Yeah, if they seem good, then go for it. And, like, it's not going to make that big a difference, like I said, in an electronic kit, because the sound is going to be the same. The sound really only changes when you start getting on acoustic drums. Myron says, is Ashtorp 5-piece a good kit for a beginner? I've never even heard of that. Let me check it real quick. Is that something on Amazon? Well, I'll find out. Let's see. Ashthorpe. I mean, it looks like it looks pretty much like that. The one I did a review on this thing called an E-Star. But for $329, the E-Star used to be really, really cheap. It was like $200 and some, but they've since risen the price on it. So for that kind of money, I would recommend not getting that. I would go with something used, maybe. I mean, first off, what is your budget? I mean, if it's right at $329, let's say $350. Let's see what you could get for $350. I think you could get, how much is the Pearl Roadshow? I mean, for $419, you can get a Pearl Roadshow, and I'll send you a link here to this. Second. These things, I mean, for just a little bit more money, I mean, it's almost $100 more, but that's going to be a much better drum kit by far. And you can get, they have different sizes too. There's like that's the jazz size I sent, which that's what I would get, personally, but there's also like a full size set. Let me see if they have it here, which is a little more. The full size is $499. But we had one of those at one of the schools I taught at, and it was great. I mean, very solid, very sturdy set. I mean, kids were banging on that thing like crazy all last year during summer camp. There'd be like 10 kids jumping on it at once. And they destroyed a couple of my Brazilian drums, but that Pearl Roadshow was still going strong at the end of summer camp. So they're pretty tough, and it's going to be that something like that other one you sent me. Those made in China. I mean, of course, everything's made in China, but those no name brands kind of that just pop up on Amazon and stuff, the quality isn't going to be consistent. Like, yeah, it might be okay. I don't know. Like the E-Star one, like I said, was decent for what it was. I think it was $250, and for $250, it was great. But like I said, that one is now, I think they raised their price like $100. And if they're going to go into over $300, then I'm like, just buy a real brand. Get a Pearl or a Ludwig or a Tama. I mean, I almost always choose Tama, but the Pearl, I think, is... Oh, and I think, I think D-Drum also makes a really, really affordable beginner set. Let me see here. I think it's called the D2. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is a great deal on these D-Drums. I mean, again, they're not like the greatest drum set in the world, but at least it's a known brand. And these ones come in some cool colors too. They come in like a fluorescent green, and this is even cheaper than the Pearl, and it's big. It's like a big set too. So that's the D-Drum D2. It's it's a full size set, and they've got this like crazy looking neon green one that's kind of cool if you're into that. I think it's cool. I'd play that. And then the solid black one too, with like all black hardware, black finish. That one's pretty cool looking. Those, I'm sure you could get those drums to sound great. If you put good heads on them and tune them up. And that one comes with cymbals too. I'm sure the cymbals are crap. Most of the time, cymbals that comes with drums like those are going to be garbage. But at least it'll give you something to bang on, for a little while until you can afford something better. If you want to get something that has like decent cymbals that come with it, you're going to be looking at about $600 minimum. And I would think maybe like the Tama Imperial Stars or the Ludwig Element are two sets that come to mind that come with cymbals, like the complete package that have decent cymbals that come with them. I think the Tamas come with Meinl, HCS, and the Elements come with Zildjian, I think, I series, which are pretty decent. I mean, they're not pro level, but they're better than like those like brass pie pans they give you with those generic, really cheap sets. But the thing is, those brass pie pans, you can actually use those as like stackers and stuff. So they're actually kind of cool. Once you get regular cymbals, you can take the junky ones and bend them up and stack them on top of each other, and you have a cool stack. So yeah, that Pearl or that D-Drum, those are two really, really good deals for acoustic drums that are really cheap. I mean, those... And both of them have pretty quality hardware. Oh, I keep thinking of them. But there's also the Yamaha Rydeen. How much is that one? Let's see. That one might be a little bit more, but... Well, not too much more. This one... Wow, there's only one left in stock. This would be probably the best quality out of all of those. Because Yamaha does not make bad stuff. Period. Right here. A little bit more than the D-drum. But still, the Yamaha Rydeen is like that set for $400. It doesn't come with any cymbals or anything, though. But it comes in a bunch of different finishes. And you can play that thing forever. I mean, it's not the top-of-the-line Yamaha, but, man, I'm sure you could get that drum set to sound amazing. And same with the Pearl, and same with the D-drum. But the Yamaha looks the best out of all of those, I think. Pearl looks pretty nice, too, though. I don't know. They're all decent. All around the same price range. So there's 3 nice ones to choose from. Let's see. David K says, I was thinking about buying my son a Ludwig Questlove 4-piece drum set. Yeah, those are great. Are you talking about the break beats or the pocket? I mean, either way, they're all great. I did a video on the pocket on my channel a while ago, and I taught on one of those at one of the schools, too. And I've suggested them to many students and put together several of those sets for students. And they're definitely great stuff. Hey, Pixel Fast Food. Well, we've been talking about the past. We got through the first 3 songs on Polybius. About to get into Cerulean Blue. I can't even say my own song titles. So let's go ahead and play that, and I'll just kind of keep the commentary going as the song's going. If you guys want to hear it fully, just stream it on whatever streaming service or downloaded it. Ant Hill Recordings. Let's see. David K says, yeah, the Quest. See that. The Pocket, yeah. Okay, so the Pocket, yeah, definitely worth it. Check out my video if you want to see it. I have a just search on my channel. Ludwig Pocket, and you'll find it. But it's really great. They sound awesome. I think like that would be another set that I think would be, and I suggested that in my video, how I converted this Tama Club Jam Flyer into electronic. Those pocket kits I think would be another really good candidate for this. And reason being is they're small, and actually those come with more hardware than the Tamas do. Those come with a hi-hat stand and a cymbal stand, too. Okay, so let's play the song. I'll keep reading the comments as this is going. So this song is called Cerulean Blue. Now, the title of this one comes from an X-Files episode where the bad guy in the episode is like, I think he has like kind of hypnotic powers over people. And that was one of his like trigger phrases to one of the people he had brainwashed. Cerulean Blue. And I just thought it was really cool. I'm a huge X-Files fan, especially the early seasons. I mean, I liked all of them, but the like probably first 4 seasons are my favorites. And this one's pretty chill pretty much the whole time. So Sarthok asked if I could do an Alesis programming video for a John Bonham type kit. And yeah, that's a good idea. I plan on doing a lot more of those. I have a whole list that I've been making over the past few days. Some more of those type of videos I think will be coming in September. They'll be coming up more soon, but the majority of them I think I'll start doing in September again. Myron, yeah, you know the episode. So the sounds you're hearing, this one I played all on hi-hat and some cymbals. And that idea was probably influenced, even though I didn't think about it at the time, but it was probably influenced a bit by Miles Davis on the Corner, where Tony Williams is playing like a hi-hat groove pretty much through the whole thing. I think it's on the Corner he does that. Where there's really no other drums. It's just this hi-hat thing going on for a long time. And I think the story goes is Miles was kind of angry at him at the time and punished him by not letting him play a full drum kit. But I don't know if that's true or not. But still, I think that just kind of like building hi-hat throughout an entire part or entire song I thought was cool. And I didn't think of that like as I was doing this, but probably a little bit of that rubbed off on me because I've listened to that album so many times and Miles Davis in general. Thanks, Pixel Fast Food. The other sounds, there's that that is like I've talked about it before. It's one of the VSTs that I made. It's called the Mothman 1000, and you can download that at demonicsweaters.com. It's a 32-bit plugin though, but it will run in Reaper because Reaper can bridge 32-bit plugins. And if you have like I have this one thing called VST Bridge where I can use it in Ableton and everything still. But that's that. And actually, it could be all the synth sounds are from that synth. Or if not that, then the other Mothman synths too, because I have 4 of them. There's Mothman 1000, Mothman 2000, Mothman 1966, and the Mothman CZ3000. Wait, what did I call it? I forget what I call it. Z3000, something like that. That one was made after the CZ3000 keyboard is what I modeled that one off of. Casio. Okay, yeah, so that is Cerulean Blue. And like I said, named after the X-Files song. And just kind of a hypnotic track, what I was going for there. And I wish Nick Z were here. He was the one asking me to do this, but you never know who's going to be on when I do these. And I know it's my fault because I never do them like regularly. They're just sort of at random times. I'm like, I'll do a live stream. And like I just go online. Kind of what I do. But yeah, let me look at the comments here. Yeah, Bonham's kit for on an Alesis Nitro Mesh, possible, maybe. Not sure how authentic it would sound, but I could try. Yeah, there might be some Bonham-y sounding things on there. I plan on doing like kind of genre, like so I did one, or eras and genres and stuff like that, because I did like that 1960s kit, and which I ended up really loving that. I use that a lot now. It's kind of become my main electronic, my main custom kit. I changed it a little bit since the video. I made it stereo. In the video, I did it mono to be more authentic, but I made mine stereo. And I think I brought the kick up a little bit on mine and just tweaked it a little bit. But there's also something, well, no, I don't want to get into that right now. Talk about that later. Was there something I forgot to say? Let's see. Pixel Fast Food, he asked if you missed anything important. Not really. But, just talking about the different songs on there. But Bonham had amazing drum sounds. They used to do all kinds of cool stuff with the recordings. I think Jimmy Page was kind of pretty innovative as far as recording engineering and stuff. I know they used to put like a microphone down at the end of long hallways and stuff for like natural reverbs and stuff, and it really sounds cool. The drum sounds always sounded cool. Bonham always played a huge, drum kit, like in size, not in amount of drums, but he had like big drums. He would play like 24s and 26-inch kick drums, and I think like a 14-inch rat tom maybe, and like a 18-inch floor tom. It's crazy to think that like, my bass drum on this kit over here is as big as John Bonham's rack tom. Like, that's how much things have changed. Like, tiny drums are the new big. Having tiny drums is kind of the thing right now because it's just easier to deal with, you know. Sarthak says, your 1960s kit is my favorite. I use it all the time. I also loved how Def Leppard sound came out. Yeah, thanks. That Def Leppard, I have to reprogram that one because that was on my old module that I gave to, I sold it to, I never told you guys. My old kit, the old Elisa's Nitro Mesh went to Chiaki and her husband, Osamu. So Chiaki plays, we do that project Hums, if you haven't heard that before. It's me and just Chiaki plays guitar and sings. She's been on a couple of live streams before. She was on the 10,000 subscriber special and the one before that as well. But she's really great. And her husband, Osamu, plays drums, and they moved here to Long Island from Japan last year, and he wasn't able to bring a drum kit with him. So I was like, I planned on building this set and getting rid of that set, and so I just asked them if they wanted to get it, and I gave them a really good deal on it. So they're happy with it. And you'll see Chiaki playing it in the Rock From Home video that's coming out on Friday. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. Rock From Home will premiere this Friday. The video that so many of you contributed to, which I think came out really, really good. I'm very happy with how it came out. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited for the premiere. I don't know what time I'm going to premiere it yet. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions. I mean, the thing is you guys are all over the world, so it's just going to be a different time for everybody. But this Friday, it'll be up at some point. So definitely take a look, look out for it, and it'll be there. And as well as it's going to be on Spotify and all the streaming services and all of that. It's already been approved. It'll be on Apple Music and everything. So all this Friday. So look out for that. The one thing that I was having a tough time with the editing, actually, because I use Vegas, for a long time I used Vegas Movie Studio as my main editing software. But I've been doing some upgrading lately, and so I upgraded to Vegas Pro. I didn't want to use Adobe Premiere because I don't like the idea of paying per month for software. Like that really bothers me. I hate that. And Vegas, to upgrade from Movie Studio to Vegas Pro was pretty affordable. I had a pretty decent deal on it. And plus, I would own the software. I wouldn't be renting it. So I got Vegas Pro, and I got Vegas Pro 17. And then at the time when I bought it, there was a free upgrade to 18 when it came out. And I was like, cool, so I'll do that. So I was using Vegas Pro 17 with no issues whatsoever. Vegas Pro 18 came out. And I downloaded and installed that, and that's what I was editing Rock From Home in. And I was getting all kinds of crashing, like constant crashing. And it was driving me nuts. And in fact, it got so bad, I couldn't even render the video. But I narrowed it down to one clip. And I'm sad to say that one of my loyal YouTube subscribers here who submitted the video, Lord Donazio, it was his clip. For some reason, it would not. Is that his name? Did I say that right? Whatever. Ignacio is his real name. So anyway, Ignacio, sorry, I sent him an email, but I never heard back about it, but I think he's busy. But I just could not get that thing to render with that in there. And the really weird thing is I even transcoded the clip. Like, I transcoded it to a different format, tried putting it in there, tried using different sections of it, and every time I would be rendering it, when it would get to his clip, it would just freeze and stop there forever, and I have to kill the program. And then, there was other crashing happening too, just a lot of stuff. And finally, what I had to do was roll back my video driver back a few versions, but I still couldn't render it with Ignacio's clip in there. But I could render the video and actually complete it, thank God. Because it was I was up until the night before last, I was up until 2 in the morning trying to render that stupid video, and it was driving me freaking crazy. I was pulling my hair out. I was so frustrated because it was looking really great. And I was really, really angry with Vegas, too, with Magix. Because their support, they have a really, really difficult to navigate support on their website. You really can't get through to them, period. When I finally found the part where I could, it was an error on the website, so I couldn't even do anything then. So I was cursing their name. And I was ready. I was maybe I'll just switch over to Adobe. and pay the monthly fee, whatever. But then, like I said, it started to work. So it may also be that I started that project in 17 and then upgraded in the middle of it and then converted it over to 18. So maybe that, I don't know. I'm going to continue with Vegas Pro 18, this week, and we'll see how it goes. If I have any more issues, maybe it was a fluke thing, with all those, the combination of upgrading mid-project as well as having some weird codec in there. But that one clip was the only one that gave me an issue. All the other clips, but it was a weird codec. Like I looked at the file and I'm not sure what he recorded it on, but it was like some codec I'd never heard of before. So it was definitely what was causing the problem. But overall, it came out really, really good, and I think you guys are really going to love it. The editing, I definitely took my time on it way more than I ever have, with the exception of maybe one other video that I did for Ronan. There was a pretty involved music video. And if you have never seen that, check it out. It's called Song to the River by Ronan Conroy. But that one was a pretty extensive music video that we did, and I think it came out really good. But this one I worked on it just as hard as I did on that one. So let's see. Pixel Fast Food says, I don't know if you know anything or anyone who know more about it, but I'm thinking of doing bass guitar next to drums for when I can't play those. Any stuff I should know? You mean you're just thinking about buying a bass? Is that what you're asking? Bass guitar next to the drums. I have to explain a little more. Sorry. Darthik says, try DaVinci Resolve 16. It's free, and many claim to be better than Premiere Pro. I've heard that, but I don't know. Vegas Pro, I already bought it. That's the thing. So I'm going to try to stick it out. I mean, it has a lot of great features, and I've used Vegas for years and never had this many issues with it. So maybe it's just a fluke thing, or maybe they'll send out an update. But I've used Vegas since it was owned by the company called Sonic Foundry, which was before Sony even owned it. I've been through 3 different owners of Vegas. I had the Sonic Foundry version of Vegas. I think the first one I got was 4, maybe, or 3. And then I had Sony Vegas. And then Magic's Vegas, I started using Movie Studio because it was like $99. It was really cheap. And I used Magic's Movie Studio for a long time now, and I've never had an issue. But then it was just for Vegas Pro 18. It was the first time I started having major issues. But I don't know. Could have been a fluke, so we'll see. Pixel Fast Food says, yeah, like learning the bass guitar so I can play that when I'm not able to play the drums late at night, too hot, etc. Yeah, bass is great. There needs to be way more bass players in the world because not enough people want to play it. I have 2 basses. I love bass. I have a fretless and a fretted. And the fretted, I have flat wounds on it. But bass definitely makes a recording really good. When you have live bass on there, it's just really helps. I love the fretless. Fretless is a lot of fun to play. It's hard, though. When I'm feeling like I want to just record bass quickly, I grab my fretted bass because fretless is usually going to take me a while. So I have to sit there and get the intonation right and figure out what I'm going to play to where it doesn't sound horrible, because I'm not that good at it, but I can make it sound decent if I really, focus and practice. On the Pan demos was all fretless bass on that. So let's move on. I'm only 4 songs in, and then we're already at an hour long, but let's go to the next one. I'm not going to play this whole song, or if I do, I'll just talk through it, but this one's called AM. So let's go ahead. Here we go. Okay, now this one is also one of 2 fully programmed songs on here, as in there's no actual live instruments. So this one and The Wrong Way the Stripe Goes. Though this one I did a lot more as far as programming. There's a lot of automation going on. And I actually did this one in Ardor on Linux. And I don't know why, because I really don't like Ardor, but I just wanted to see if I could make something. I think it came out cool. A lot of FM synthesis going on and AM modulation. That's why I called the song AM. I was using like an AM modulation plugin or something like that. So Pixel Fast Food asks if I have any suggestions for a beginner bass player. Not really. Just play it. Practice. It always helps to record stuff. And I always suggest that people record music because, get your parts down. And like when I play bass and when I play guitar too, especially these days, I try not to cut and paste. I try to play through and with drums. Like I don't want to, not that I am against it. And if I just can't get something right and keep making a mistake in a certain spot, then yeah, I'll do it. But overall, I try to play from start to finish of a song without stopping because I think it's good discipline and I think it makes you a better musician. So that can be applied to bass or guitar or drums. I like this midsection coming up here. Let me turn it up. Myron says it's like listening to the music at the end credits of an old video game. Cool. Yeah, that was kind of the idea, of this whole thing. Okay, so the next one, let's just move right along here. This next one I think I've talked about before because this one has some of my more complicated drum fills that I've ever pulled off on a recording, and it's just the title track called Polybius. And I actually recorded this one on my little Zoom PSO4 in long recording mode, which is like really like weird kind of lo-fi digital sound, but you'll hear it. It sounds cool. And all the keyboard sounds are from the Casio CT370. So here we go. And this one was all played in real time too, even the keyboard parts. I just overdubbed them. Another one kind of sounds like a guitar there, but that's still CT370. And also, if you're interested in the CT370 sounds, I actually created an entire sound font from every single sound in that keyboard when I owned it. So I sampled every sound, and I created a sound font. You can download it at my website, or at demonicsweaters.com. It's in the VST's samples section. You can find it. But it sounds just like this. I mean, everything I play on here, all these synth and keyboard sounds are all in that sound font. Okay, through this chorus is where the fills get a little crazy. Tentative stage name says, more ambient-ish loops, good for the soul. Matthew Jones, can I get a shout out? Of course you can. Shout out to Matthew Jones. No problem, man. All right, I'm just gonna let the music go. Let me know if you guys can still hear, if this level sounds good with me talking and music in the background. If one needs to come up and the other down, let me know. Dead Lego, sorry, not logo, says those drums sound sick. Thanks. Oh, and this one's another odd time. Let's see, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. It's 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that was part of the challenge of getting those fills worked out too, is they had to come back in on time, being in 5/4. And this one is kind of a well, it's called Tunnel of Dark, so it's kind of a brooding, building kind of thing. And I think this one, my friend Ronan told me this one sounded like The Cure. I really didn't hear that, but but I don't know. Maybe there's some Cure songs I've never heard. Matthew Jones says, how long have you been doing YouTube? Well, seriously doing it since, I would say, 2015. So about 5 years. I've had my channel for a really long time, since 2009. So, yeah. But I really didn't know what to do with it for a long time. And even in the early, like, through 2015, 2016, I was trying a lot of different stuff. I really didn't know what to do. You know, that's how you do it. You just try different stuff, and you start to figure out what works. Dead Lego says, by the way, Justin, I'm Martin, the one who sent you the direct message thanking you for everything, and would like, again, to say thanks. Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem. I'm just glad you guys find what I do here useful and enjoy this content. I really need to get some more water. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I just got a LaCroix. That's easier. LaCroix. Tentative stage name. I echo the thanks. Q-Tractor has given me the fits, but I also really like it. Yeah, I feel your pain. I've been extremely frustrated by Q-Tractor at certain times. You have to keep in mind, it's a program literally made by one guy. Like, there's no team making Q-Tractor. It's like literally one dude who makes that program. And for that, it's pretty amazing. I kind of regret, though, in a way, like I started the next Minnesota project. I recorded like about half of the album in Q-Tractor. And now I regret doing that because, like, it's really hard. Like, it's good, you know. It's a really good program, but it's not pro. You know, it lacks a lot of things that I want to do, like having good buses and effect sends and automation and stuff. Yeah, it does some of that stuff, but it does it weird. And plus, I only have that on one laptop. Like, I only have one Linux laptop that I don't really like to produce on right now, because I built a new PC. I didn't even do a video on my new PC. I should have, but maybe I'll just show you guys that in this stream. But I have a reason why I didn't do a video on that. Is just because I'm trying to move away from like the computer type videos and just stay more focused on music, which is why I do less Linux stuff now too, because I mean, I love using Linux, but it doesn't always translate into musicians watching your channel. A lot of times it kind of attracts more computer, techie oriented people. And so like, I want to kind of focus my audience a little bit better, into drummers and, multi-instrumentalists recording, home recording people and stuff like that. So that's why I've been doing less of that. So this song I haven't even talked about really, but let me turn it up for a second just so you can hear it a little better. That's pretty much the end. That was another one recorded on that little PSO4. I really like that thing. I record a lot on there. All of the Pan demos was recorded on there. It's just fun because, like, to not use a computer to record sometimes. You just have a little device. Okay, let me read some of these comments. Matthew Jones says, I don't really know how to get more subs, because I really try to do, like, it's a job. People tell me if I try hard, it will work out. Let me take a look at your channel. Send me a link, and I'll see if I can think of some suggestions. I mean, I'm still learning myself, obviously. It takes a long time, but I do know a couple of things, that helped me out, that I was able to get going a little bit faster once I figured out a couple of things. So yeah, send me a link. You can post it here in the chat if you want. I can't, YouTube doesn't allow me to see your channel from the chat anymore. It used to do that, but now it doesn't allow me to do that. I don't know why. You can't click on your name. So this song is called Flowers, and I was really happy with the drum sound I got in this one. Matthew Jones, just go to your channel, like open it up in a different tab, and then just copy the link out of the address bar, and then just paste it in here. Okay, tentative stage name says, by DS back to Q Tractor and trying to get this audio interface to work. Thank for all your moves. Yeah, no worries. Good luck with Q Tractor. And Pixel Fast Food Play says, go to your channel and copy, paste a link. Yeah. So this track, oh, you put it in the comments? Okay, I can't see the comments right now, but I'll look at it after this ends. This song, I believe, was done in Linux, and I want to say this might have been Ardor as well. And I think the reason why I was using Ardor, now that I think about it, is I was using a Chromebook on some of these songs, believe it or not. I hacked a Chromebook to run Ubuntu, and very low-powered PC Chromebooks. But yeah, you can still record on them if you're using Linux. You can't in Chrome OS. Chrome OS will do nothing. Really. I mean, aside from web browsing, which it does really, really well, and, Google apps, it does all that really well. But anything else, you're pretty much stuck. This one I thought was kind of like a cross between like Stereolab and Kraftwerk. Well, I wish I could see it. Let me see. Here, paste it in the chat, Matthew, because I want to take a look at it while I'm on the stream, and that way I can just talk about it here a little bit. Or maybe I can let me get to here, I can do it. Never mind. I'll find it. Let me go to my page. And go to the live stream. Go to my page. Okay, you gotta hear a double there for a second. And, oh, it blocked it. Because it's a link. So I have to go into my... Yeah, it's not showing it. It's in my spam. Let's see if I can find that. YouTube Studio. Huh, it's not showing there either. So maybe it didn't come through yet, or maybe... Yeah, there's nothing in spam and nothing in held for review. Yeah, but Matthew Pixel Fast Food says if you search names, you can find it. But Matthew Jones is a pretty common name, I would think. Let's see, I'll try that though. Oh, this song. Okay, let me turn it up a little bit while I'm doing this. This one has some pretty crazy drumming in it. Yeah, no luck in finding the channel. Thanks. The snare sound. I was able to get that snare sound. I have a secret, actually, on some snares that I do sometimes. You just add a little tiny bit of distortion. And that's what I did here. Sarthik says, bye, Justin. Gotta sleep. Thanks for your videos. See you in the next live stream. Cool. Thank you for coming and commenting. And have a good night. So yeah, the snare drum, a little bit. I did a little bit of tube overdrive on the snare. This one is another one that's in 7/4. Though the intro is actually in 15/4 or 15/8. Yeah, all the Matthew Joneses that pop up for me are... It only shows me 3, and none of them are you. And then the rest are just videos that comes up. The search results are different for each person. If you search yourself, you'll find yourself. That's how it always works on YouTube. And Lord Duranzo, hello there. Good afternoon. And sorry, Lord Duranzo, you missed the story earlier about how your clip was making Rock From Home impossible to render. So unfortunately, I had to edit you out of the video. Which sucks, I know, but I just could not get it to work. Like, I tried rendering it like 8 million times, and I was pulling all my hair out, and I just couldn't do it. I sent you an email about it too, but I don't think you ever saw it. I was gonna see if you could send me another clip to try to use, but I couldn't get it, or I didn't get it in time. Oh, okay. Matthew Jones, how to side flip. Okay, I'll search that. Okay, what song is next? Oh, this song... Okay, so this song, Dev Null, honestly, this is one of the few songs of mine that I made that kind of creeps me out a little bit. I don't know why, but this intro just kind of creeps me out. Let me turn it up. Okay, I found your channel, Matt. I have to mute it, though, for now. So you're doing a lot of acrobatics here. Lord Duranzo says, sorry, I wasn't revising anything, just studying for college exam. Yeah, I kind of thought you were doing something like that because you told me in the first email that you had finals. But I don't know, what did you record that thing on? Because the codec was really strange. I looked at it, I've never even seen that codec before. And Matthew Jones says, I also play drums at church and stuff. If for some reason we find us passing paths, I would love to collab. Keep working on it, man. I gotta get some collaborators with equal subscriber count, at least. Lord Duranzo says, man, this album's got some real tunes. Heard it on Spotify a couple weeks ago. Thanks, man. Huh, that was on the Moto G7. Yeah, I used to have a G7 too, but I don't think I ever really used it for YouTube. Well, Matthew, your channel, well, see, you happen to send me a channel that probably one of the topics that I know the least amount about, which is acrobatics. Like, I have no idea, like, anything about that at all. If I tried to do a backflip, I'd break my neck. But that's really amazing that you can do that stuff. But with YouTube, it's really all about finding your audience, like knowing your audience, and focusing in on what your audience wants to see, basically. And I took like some business courses actually when I was first getting serious about YouTube in 2016. And one of the things they had us do, and this is actually really helpful, is you create an avatar that's like your target I say customer, but consumer or fan or whatever it is, target fan. And what you do is you draw them and you give them a name. You figure out how old they are. You figure out what they do for a living. You write as many details about that person as you possibly can. And then you know who your target like fan or audience is. And then you ask yourself, you're like, so what would, like, say, I forget what I named mine, but say, you know, Alex or whatever. Say the avatar's name is Alex. What would Alex like to see? You know, that's what you start asking yourself. And then you just start doing that. Now, as far as getting views right away, you just don't. It takes a while. You have to find something that can give you a little push. For me, the first video that actually got some views was, it was actually a really long time ago. It was one of my first videos, and I didn't really realize what I was doing at the time, but it was this one that I did about the Casio CZ3000, and this album that I made called 1986. And because I got the CZ3000, and then I realized what it was is people were searching YouTube for the keyboard, because people aren't really going to search. Like, I have musician friends who, they get frustrated. They're like, why does nobody listen to my music on YouTube? I'm like, who the hell is going to go to YouTube and type in a name of somebody they've never heard? Like, nobody's going to do that. Like, or nobody's going to say, like, like unknown, even if they typed unknown musicians, they're not going to find you. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So you have to find some other thing. For me, it was gear, or it still is gear, and, education, like teaching people how to do stuff. Which you're doing already on your page already, but how many people are out there looking to do backflips? Is it a lot? I don't know. Maybe. Like I said, I know nothing about it. So, but if your goal is just to do YouTube and you don't really care what the topic is, or say you have like several things that you'd want to do topics about, then pick one that you think will have a better chance. Yeah. And you said, let's see. Lord Duranza said, what mic's used in the drums on this album? The drum sounds like a big garage with the reverb, but sounds so nice. Most of them, I did talk about that a little bit. Most of them were very inexpensive mics. They were all, the snare and toms were all SM57 copies. Like, really cheap. A couple of them were, I think they were called OM450s or something like that. And then the others were Pile SM57 copies, which suck. Those things are terrible. Like, they don't sound that bad, but they break. Like, none of them I had at this time work anymore. Like, they all broke. And then I used a CAD KBM 412 on the kick drum. And then on the overheads were just cheap BM800 condenser mics from China. So everything on this whole album was like, they were all like $12 microphones. So, Matthew, are you saying, like, you just need to find out what people want to watch? That's partly it, yeah. But you don't want to do something, you don't want to make a channel about something you're not interested in just to get views. Because I don't want to say the channel, but I know somebody who started a YouTube channel, and that's what they did. And now they're stuck. Like, they're trapped, like, because they became pretty successful, and now they're stuck in making videos about stuff that they don't really care about. And they're afraid to stop because they don't want to lose those viewers and all that stuff, and they're making money. But then it's just like a job, That makes it no different than just like a job you could go out and get. If you're doing stuff you don't want to do, then what the hell is the point, Make sure it's something that you like and that you love, Because I would rather have, like 1,000 subscribers doing content that I really love, that I totally love, like I do right now, or, versus having 10,000 doing videos about stuff that I just don't care about. And also, okay, so, yes, you have to find like 3 or 4 things that you love, that you think you could do videos on, that other people are interested in, and then keep doing it. Like, you have to do, another thing, too, that a lot of people don't talk about on YouTube is quantity is just as important as quality. And this is why some YouTubers burn out like crazy, because you have to produce a lot of content. Like, I upload a lot of content. I average 5 videos a week, which is crazy, like, when I think about it. But I upload a lot of stuff, and that helps. The more you upload, the more YouTube is going to start crawling your channel. Their search engines will crawl you more because you're uploading more and more. And so, like, it just takes a little time at first, But once you keep uploading, you keep getting more and more content up there, they'll start paying attention to you a little bit more. And make sure your titles are really good. The titles are really important, and the thumbnail is very important. There's also, like, YouTube Academy. Like, you can go into your YouTube homepage, creator page, whatever it's called, and there's like a sign up in there for YouTube Academy where they give you courses too you can take for free that are online. Mr. Beast has almost 40 million subs. That's what he wants to do, but he was being fake and it will never felt happy about it. I didn't even talk about the last song there. So, overlapping spirals. I should mention something about this one because, let me just go back a little bit. Let me just pause it for a second because I can't even think with that going on. And the reason being is there's like a million different time signatures happening at the same time there. And that's why I ended up calling this song Overlapping Spirals. And what I was trying to go for was, if you read descriptions of the game Polybius, that was one of the things, all these overlapping shapes and spirals kind of putting you in this hypnotic trance. And so I thought, I wanted to make something that had, there's several, I don't even know what they are. I'd have to really sit there and focus on it to figure it out. But if you listen to the different keyboard parts and the drum parts, I could definitely figure out the drum part. Let me hear that again. Okay, so the drum part is in 7, but the keyboard parts fluctuate, and there's several of them going on at the same time that are different. So there's like 1 in 5, there's 1 in 6, I think there's 1 in 3, 4. Like there's all these different time signatures all overlapped, kind of going on top of each other. And if you listen to it, especially on headphones, because they're all panned differently, it really does put you in some kind of a trance. And it actually distracts, like that's why I had to stop it while I was talking, because I can't even talk with that going on, like in the background, because it has so many different time signatures. My brain keeps trying to latch onto one of them. And if you just focus in on one keyboard sound, it changes the way the other ones sound, because you're hearing it like this pattern overlap with these other patterns. Let me just play it a little more again. So there's one there on the right side in 5. But anyway, there's a lot of them. And that was, I forget how many I did total, but there were several. And so like, that was the whole concept. I just want to kind of create an audio version of the overlapping spiral concept. And I think it was pretty effective. And Matthew Jones asked, how did I think of demonic sweaters? And I've told this story many times, but since you're pretty new, I'll go over it again. I don't mind telling it. I wonder if some of the people have heard it like too many times. So, but the name actually came, I thought of that name back in like, I think 2013, because I was reading an article where there's that televangelist, Pat Robertson, had said something where you shouldn't buy sweaters in thrift stores because they could be possessed by demons. And I just thought that was really funny. And so the phrase demonic sweaters just came to mind. And it just kind of, what happened is actually I first created, there's the first Demonic Sweaters album. And that album was not really intended to become a full-blown project. What it was a bunch of like 4-track tapes and files that I had left over from several years that I didn't really know what to do with. and I just put them all together and edited this thing together, and I just called it Demonic Sweaters, to release on my label. And at the time, I was playing in the band Quiet Sons, and Quiet Sons kind of was falling apart, and we were supposed to play this show at this warehouse in Brooklyn, and we were no longer really playing, and so the promoters of the show was like, they had heard the Demonic Sweaters stuff, the first album, and they were like, well, you want to do this Demonic Sweaters project? And I was like, I don't even know how I would do, I didn't even have any clue how I would do anything live. And, but then I was like, yeah, sure, I'll figure something out. And so, like, I hooked up all this MIDI equipment and had all this, like, electronic stuff. And it was a total train wreck disaster. Like, it was horrible. But that was the first Demonic Sweaters performance. And people liked it still, even though I really didn't think it went well. Like, one of the things I didn't think about was in the warehouse, it was quite dark. And the main sequencer, because I was, like, not using a computer. I used all MIDI hardware. And, like, the main sequencer I used was not backlit. And so, like, it didn't have a light. So I couldn't even see what I was doing. And, it was just a bad idea. It wasn't well thought out. But after that, I was like, people seem to be, everybody liked the name. And I made a lot more Demonic Sweaters albums. And they were just all electronic in the beginning. I think probably, 7 albums. I talked about this briefly in the last podcast. It's 6 or 7 albums that I just knocked out really quickly. And then right around that same time, I was getting more serious about my YouTube channel, and I knew the name Demonic Sweaters. Every time somebody heard that name, it just it made them, even though it doesn't make sense with what I do, it always got people's attention and people always remembered it. So that's why I was like, I'm going to name the channel Demonic Sweaters. And so I just use that for all my stuff. It's my music and my channel name. And it's me, because people remember it. So even though it's not really a music name, it has nothing, I have nothing to do with sweaters or demons or anything, but people just always remember it. So that's why I went with that. And I think it's been effective for people to remember stuff, to have a name like that where people remember it. And I just got really lucky with that one. It was one of those things where it just popped into my head and started calling everything that, and it just worked. The music in the beginning, this channel I think was just I just called it Justin Robert because that's what I used to release my music under, was the name. Robert is my middle name, so I would do Justin Robert, and I still release music under that name too. But the Justin Robert stuff is more ambient music. Matthew Jones says, well, I'm going to have to leave. I'll be ready for more vids. Keep up the great work. Cool. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming by. This stream has gone on pretty long already. But that was the whole album. That was Polybius. And it's on, all the streaming services. Excuse me. I shouldn't have drank LaCroix. It's making me burp. And as well as all the other Demonic Sweater stuff is all on all the streaming services. If you want to hear that first Demonic Sweaters too, I should do it behind the album on that one, even though I'd have no idea what half that shit is on there. But that one's pretty interesting because it was not Justin Roberts, Justin Robert. Just the T, not the S. There's a children's musician named Justin Roberts. That's why, one of the reasons why I don't use that one as much too, because everybody says that. They all make that mistake that you just made. And people would confuse me for the children's musician, Justin Roberts, all the time. And so much so so much so that I would put in a CD of mine in a computer, and it would come up from the CD database, Justin Roberts. I'm like, what? How's it even doing that? That doesn't even make sense, but it would still do that. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty weird. But yeah, I have more than that actually. Lord Duranzo, I have Demonic Sweaters, which is me, and I think that's the majority of the stuff I do. And then I have Minnesota, which is also just me. But Minnesota has a definite sound. Like, Minnesota is mellow. a lot of acoustic guitar, a lot of acoustic instruments in general, even though the last full-length Minnesota it was just electric guitar, but that's all. But still, I had a vibe. And, but so there's Minnesota, there's Demonic Sweaters, there's Justin Robert, which is all ambient, mostly. So it kind of branches out a little bit here and there. And then there's also Children of Mu, which is like my freeform jazz stuff. And there's Deluxe Paint 418, which I've only released one album under that name. But that one is like more electronic, but it's even more experimental, I think, than Demonic Sweaters. I have some more Deluxe Paint 418 tracks that I haven't done anything with yet. At some point, I probably will. I just never get around to it. And I think that's all. But yeah, even the last Children of Mu was also all just me. I made up names that were like the other musicians. So I had some comments where like, oh wow, you guys sound really good. And like people were like thinking it's a full band, but it's just me. I mean, but there was on Sessions 2011, the first Children of Mu was a full band. That was when I was still in Florida. And there was a lot of musicians on that one, but I never had much luck finding people in New York to do that kind of stuff. So I just made it all me. Basically, if I'm doing, different sounds, and sometimes I'll but the thing is with Demonic Sweaters is it's all so eclectic anyways. Like Demonic Sweaters can range from like totally electronic to like really experimental, ambient to like full-blown rock, heavy metal, pop. Like the stuff coming out now is like very rock and metal sounding, like old school metal. Rock From Home that's coming out is definitely a hard rock metal track. And I have a lot more of those soon. I want to try to get a full album of that stuff done. I'm at EP length right now, and I was tempted to release as an EP because I tend to like stop losing focus after like 5 songs or so, and I start doing something else. But I want to try to force myself to complete a full rock, hard rock album for Rock From Home, and have Rock From Home also be the title of the album as well as the single. But there's also the single Portal, which I did for that SSL demo, which is also another rock grunge type song. That's going to be on there, and that one is also going to be out very soon on Spotify and all that stuff too. So there's going to be those 2 singles. There's going to be Portal and then Rock From Home that are coming out, that are the hard rock type stuff with vocals. And all this stuff on Rock From Home has vocals, which is not something I've done a lot of in the past probably 10 years. So it's cool. I mean, I'm definitely enjoying doing it again and singing again. It's hard, though. I think one of the reasons why I don't do it as much is just because I get lazy, because vocals are a lot of work, and you have to write lyrics, and you have to, like, really, you can't do a crappy job on vocals or it just ruins the entire thing. Like people will immediately turn off the music if you do a bad job on vocals. So yeah, I have to make sure that they're good, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of redoing them. Like the vocals on Rock From Home, I think I recorded those like 5 or 6 times before I got them right. Somehow Portal, I did like perfect the first time I ever tried it. I have no idea why. I think it was like right in my range. But, I just hit it perfectly. And so Pixel Fast Food has to go. All right. See you later. And thanks for watching and commenting and everything. And you're in the video, so you'll be on there Friday. And Lord Dronza says, yeah, for me, lyrics are just the insane part. Yeah, lyrics are hard. Although they've been easier for me lately. I don't know why, really. But I think I'm going about it a different way than I used to. Actually, this doesn't happen that often, but this morning I woke up with almost a complete song in my head. Like when I was asleep, I was dreaming a song, and I was actually singing it in the song, or in the dream. And I've had songs and dreams in the past, but I never write them down or record them. I always got, I was like, I don't know why. I mean, I have written some lyrics that way a long time ago, but I've had music in my head before. And this time I woke up and I sang the melody into my phone so I could record it, and then I wrote the lyrics like immediately. So I got it. I got the whole thing written it was all in my head when I woke up in the morning, which that doesn't happen very often. I don't know if it's ever happened that complete, actually, before in my life. Weird. And like in the dream, I had a sheet of the lyrics in the dream, and I was literally reading them, singing them from the sheet of lyrics in my dream. And I just woke up, and I don't know if I remembered them perfectly from the dream, but I got several of the lines and the title of the song and the chorus. So I was able to write them all down, and like the phrasing and all that stuff all came from the dream. We'll see. I think it's kind of cheesy, but I don't mind. I'm like, well, if it's cheesy, it's cheesy. That's just, how it is. Whatever. Sometimes you can't be afraid to be cheesy. Let's see, is Nick Gurr in your album? Who's Nick Gurr? Stephen Chilton asks. I'm not sure who that is. Should I know? Yeah, lyrics too, like, but for the other lyrics, like, Rock From Home, like, the phrase Rock From Home, I had way before the lyrics. That just kept happening, like, some joke, I guess, Stephen Chilton. That's actually not funny at all. So, yeah, you're going to get banned. Why are there, like, so many are like this on YouTube? Goodbye. Now you're muted forever. But anyway. Yep. Hidden from YouTube. There you go. Anyway, yeah. It's like, I guess it just comes with the territory. The more subscribers and stuff you get, the more idiots you also attract to your channel. But, I don't know. Anyway, guys, that was a pretty long stream, so I think we should wrap it up now. That was the full album of Polybius. And, yeah, I'm still pretty proud of that one. I think it came out really good. Now, listening to it now, I'm like, why did I not play more live instruments? But I was really into synths at the time. I still am. I love synths, but I think I kind of burned myself out. I was doing so much synth music where it's like now I'm just like, all I want to do is play guitar, bass, and drums and sing. That's pretty much all. So, all right, thanks, Lord Duranzo, and thanks to everybody else who came out for the stream. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And be sure to come back on, well, I'll be here. I'll probably do some more videos before Friday. I have one that I want to do tomorrow if I don't have to go to the dentist. But Friday, for sure, Rock From Home will be premiered, not streaming, but I'll do the premiere for Rock From Home probably sometime in the evening, Eastern time, or maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm going to upload it pretty soon and then have all that stuff ready, so the time will all be there, and you guys can check it, and it'll show all of that info when it's uploaded. I'm just rambling on at this point, so let me just log off. All right, guys, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe, click like if you haven't done so already. Check out anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com, and you can always stream Demonic Sweaters on all the streaming services, as well as Manasota and Deluxe Paint 418 and Justin Robert, which are all me and Children of Mu. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See y'all really soon. Later. Wow, there's no in-stream button on here anymore. What is YouTube doing? How are you supposed to operate this? Do I just end it in OBS and that does it? Right? Okay, let me see if this works. Bye.